will start with module 4, dynamic programming. Right? So we'll see what is this dynamic programming and how it is different from the greedy method. What are the various problems that we can solve by using this dynamic programming model? Okay. So basically, this dynamic programming is used to solve or to find optimization problems. Okay. Basically, this dynamic programming is used to solve optimization problems. Okay. What is this optimization? What is this optimization? Right. So when we are discussing about the greedy method, we discussed something called as feasible solutions. Right. We discussed something called as feasible solution, optimal solution. Right. So feasible solutions are all possible solutions for a specific problem, right? So feasible solutions are all the possible solutions we are having for a problem. Whereas optimal solution, this is a one solution out of this feasible solutions. We will select one solution that either maximizes the function objective or minimizes the function objective based on the problem type. That type of solution we will call it as optimal solution, right? So here, similarly, here optimization problems means the function objective. For example, if we take knapsack problem, right? If we take knapsack problem, here the function objective is to maximize profit, right? We should maximize the profit. So it is maximization problem. Suppose if we take, this, what is that? Uh, Coin change problem, right? Suppose if we take this coin change problem, so here what we are doing, minimize the number of coins, right? Minimize number of coins and maximize the profit, right? Maximize profit or cost. So this is a function objective we are having. Again, it is an optimization. Tables are having some optimization function, right? Either it should minimize. For example, if you are calculating the distance. For example, if you are calculating the distance from one vertex to another vertex. So here we should reduce. We should find the path. We should find the path with minimum distance, right? We should find the path with minimum distance. So here it is a minimization problem we are having. It is a minimization problem we are having, right? So these are the optimization problems. So we are using this dynamic programming to solve these optimization problems. Even though we are using greedy method, to solve the same optimization problems, right? Then what is the difference? Why we should go for dynamic programming? What is the difference we should see here, right? In the greedy method, once we will make a decision, then we'll follow that decision, right? Not the procedure. Once we'll make a decision, then we'll follow the procedure. Whereas in this dynamic programming, we will follow sequence of decisions. Okay, we will follow sequence of decisions here. Sequence of decision, that is based on the result what we got in the previous step. Again, we will decide here how to solve a problem, right? So here we are not making decision once, so we are making decisions in a sequential manner. Multiple decisions we are making to solve a problem. Again, here this also follows the same. So this will divide or breaks the complex problem. Okay. So again, in this approach also, the complex problem will be broken into a small or simpler sub-problems. So this breaks complex problems into simpler sub-problems, right? This breaks complex problems into simpler sub-problems. Then it will find the optimal solution of these simpler subproblems. Then it will find the optimal solutions for these simpler subproblems. Then it will store the results. Okay, it will store the results of these subproblems so that again if I want to solve the same problem subproblem, instead of computing once again, I can use the result here. I can use the result which is stored here, right? So this procedure we will call it as memorization. Okay, this procedure we will call it as memorization. Means once we solve the subproblem, we will store the result in some array. Okay, we will store the result in some array so that once again, if I need to solve the same type of subproblem, then instead of going and computing that, then I can use the result which is there in the array. So that we will call it as memorization. Okay, next we can reuse the result if the same set of program or the same subproblem is encountered. Okay, now once we solve all these subproblems, finally we will calculate the solution for the main problem. Okay, finally we will calculate solution for the main problem, right? So this is the idea behind this dynamic programming. This is the idea behind this dynamic programming. Please remember, this dynamic programming is used to solve optimization problems. For example, if we take an abstract problem, here optimization problem optimization is we should maximize the profit. We should maximize the profit, right? Next, a coin change problem again here. So we should use minimum number of coins, whereas the amount what are the profit we are getting, it should be maximum. Similarly, if we are going to calculate the shortest distance between vertices, again here the problem is of type minimization problem, right? We should find the minimum distance. So these are the different various optimization problems we are having. Okay, to solve such type of problems we can use this dynamic programming approach, right? So what is this dynamic program? How it will solve? Basically, it follows sequence of decisions, right? So what is it says? It breaks the complex problem into a simple sub problem. Then solve this simple sub problems, and again here we will use the results of these sub problems will be stored in some array. Okay. Whenever the same sub problem is encountered, we can just reuse that solution instead of computing once again. And finally, we will combine the solutions of these sub problems so that it will become a solution for the main problem. Clear? Can you respond, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us take, a calculating of this Fibonacci numbers. Okay. For example, consider this algorithm. So it will write an algorithm for calculating the Fibonacci number, right? If this n is less than 0, then error will generate, right? Else if n is equals to 0, then we will return what will return. If n is equals to 0, then we will return 0. If n is equals to 1, then we will return 1, right? Else we will return else we will return what we will return. So fib of n minus 1 plus fib of n minus 2, right? So let me take one variable for this. So next we will return this sum, right? Okay. So clear? Okay. So here just observe here. We will start writing the Fibonacci series. So 0, if it is 0, then 1, right? So 1 plus 0, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 3, 13, and so on, right? So this is a series of Fibonacci numbers we are having, right? This is the series of Fibonacci numbers we are having. Now, so let us write a tree for this particular algorithm, right? Let us write a tree for this particular algorithm. Let us take n value as 5, okay? Let us take n value as 5. So it is fib of 5, right? Fib of 5. So it is solved as how? Here you just see n is equals to 0, no. N is less than 0, no. N is equals to 1, no. We will come to this one. So fib of n minus 1 plus fib of n minus 2. What is n minus 1? Again it is fib of 4. So it is fib of 3, n minus 2, right? So again now it will call this one. Again n is greater than 1. So we will directly go here. So it is fib of 3. It is fib of 2, right? Again it will call this. So it is fib of 2. Here fib of 1, right? Again it will call this. It is fib of 1. It is fib of 0, right? So directly now just observe here. Now it will call this one fib of 1. So n is equals to 1 means we will return 1, right? We will return 1. So the answer for this is 1. And fib of 0. Fib of 0. So n is 0 means it will return 0. So since it is plus here, so 1 plus 0, 1. So fib of 2 is 1, right? Fib of 2 is 1. Now fib of 2 is solved, okay? Fib of 2 is solved, right? So again, what we will do, if I want to solve this fib of 3, again we should solve this. Fib of 1 is what? N is equals to 1 means it is 1. So it is now 1 plus 1, 2. So fib of 3 is 2. Now you solve this fib of 2. So fib of 2 it is greater than 1. So again it will call. So it is fib of 1 and fib of 0, right? So here it is fib of 1 is 1 and here it is 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. Now, so fib of 3 is 2 and fib of 2 is 1. So 2 plus 1, 3, right? Now here, now it will call this one, right? So here it is. So fib of 2 and fib of 1. So again, fib of 1, fib of 0, right? So here, what is this says? What is fib of 1? N is equals to 1 means 1. Fib of 0, 0. So 1 plus 0, 1. What is fib of 1? 1. So fib of 2 is 1. So 1 plus 1, 2. Right? Yes or no? Here it is 2. Right? So 3 plus 2, 5. Right? 3 plus 2, 5. Okay. Now you just observe here. To calculate this fib of 5, it is calling fib of 4 plus fib of 3. Again, next it will call this fib of 3 plus fib of 2. Again, next it will call this fib of 2 plus fib of 1. You just observe here. Fib of 3 already we calculated here, but again we are calculating here. Similarly, fib of 2 already we calculated, but again here we are calculating here. Again we are calculating here, right? So here the sub problems we are repeating. the sub problems are repeating. So here, what is this dynamic approach says? Instead of instead of instead of computing once again, you just store the results in one array, so that we can reuse the results. So okay, so that we can reuse the results. So let us take, so since n is 5, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Okay. Now, so initially we will write -1 for all. Okay. Initially, the array is initialized with -1. Means we have not yet calculated this fib of 0 or fib of 1 or fib of 2, fib of 3. We are not yet calculated. Okay. So here initially it is -1 all. So first what we will do? We will call this fib of 5. In turn we will call this fib of 4. In turn we will call this fib of 3. In turn we will call this 2. Here you just see fib of 1 and fib of 0 has been solved. So what we will do? We will update these values in particular location. So fib of 0 is what? What is fib of 0? 0. So here we will update that. Okay. So here we will update that. Next, what is fib of 1? Fib of 1 is 1. So here we will update that. Okay. Next time, whenever we want this fib of 0 or fib of 1, directly, instead of solving this, we can directly access the value from here. Means we can reuse the values which are here. Next, fib of 2. Next, once we solve this 0 and 1, we are going with fib of 2. So when we solve this, automatically what we are getting 1. So that we are storing here. Okay, that we are storing here. Next time when fib of 2 is required, you just see here. So here it is fib of 2. So whenever it is required, directly we can access the value from here instead of accessing here. Fib of 3 is what? Fib of 3 is 2. Right? So next time. See, if I want to calculate this fib of 4, I need fib of 3 plus fib of 2. So directly I can access these values. Right? So it is now, we will update this as 3. Next, fib of 5 is 5. Okay. See, here we are using fib of 2, so I can use this value. Here I am using fib of 3, so I can use this value. Right? I can use this value. So this we will call it as memorization. Okay, this we will call it as memorization. So instead of computing the same step problem once again, what we will do first time when we compute, we will store the results in some array, in an array. Next time you see problem is solved, then we can access the value from here. Okay, so this is the advantage of dynamic programming. Here you just see. So here fib of 2 is there, fib of 1, fib of 0, fib of 1, fib of 1, fib of 0, again fib of 0, fib of 1, fib of 0, fib 1, fib 2. All these are overlapping subproblems, right? All these are overlapping subproblems. So whenever overlapping subproblems are there, one subproblem can be solved, the same solution can be used to all other overlapping subproblems by the use of memorization concept. Is it clear? Is it clear? Will you respond, please? So this is the advantage of this dynamic programming. This is the advantage of this dynamic programming. Okay? This is the advantage of this dynamic programming. Later, is it clear? Kindly respond, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, we'll see. Just observe here the general method what we are having in dynamic programming. Here, quickly we will see some of the text, and then we will go for solving the problem, right? So here, dynamic programming is an algorithm design method. It is an algorithm design method that can be used when the solution to a problem can be viewed as a result of sequence of decisions. Can be viewed as a result of sequence of decisions. For example, as I told, let us take knapsack problem. Knapsack problem, what is the basic idea of knapsack? We are given n objects and weight is given for each object. We should place these objects into a knapsack such that it should not exceed the total weight of the knapsack, while it should increase the profit. While we should increase the profit. There we are deciding which is having highest profit, that one we are placing into the knapsack, right? So it is a maximization problem. Right. So here the solution to the knapsack problem can be viewed as there is can be viewed as the result of a sequence of decisions. We have to decide the values of xi. We have to decide the values of xi, that is which is having highest profit. That one we should decide first. Then we will make a decision. We'll put x1, then x2 or x3 and so on, right? So these are the optimal sequence of decisions which will maximize the objective function. Which will maximize the objective function, right? So it is a maximization problem we are having. Next, shortest path, shortest distance, right? So it is one way of finding the shortest path from vertex I to vertex j. In a directed graph G is to decide which vertex should be second, third, and so on, right? We will decide. How we will decide? Based on the path cost or path weight, right? Based on the path cost or path weight, we will decide which should be a second vertex, which should be a third one, which should be a fourth one, through which vertex we should pass, right? So that is what. So here it is a minimization problem. Next, optimal merge pattern. Optimal merge pattern. So here an optimal merge pattern tells us which pairs of files should be merged at each step. Which pairs of files should be merged at each step. So decision sequence calls for us to decide which pair of files should be merged first. So here we should decide. Next we will decide. Next we will decide. So here sequence of decisions we are taking. Right? Sequence of decisions we are taking that should cost a least. That should cost a least, right? Okay. For example, let us take we are having 5 files. Okay, 5 files are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 files are there. So merge these files. Now we are having a fashion. One is merged with second one, next with third one, next with fourth one. This is one way. Second one, we can merge two at a time, right? We can merge two. So we are left with only one. Next, we can merge these are this one. Next, right? Next we can merge finally that one, right? Right? Next we can merge this one. Next we can merge this one, right? So this is we are merging one by one, right? So this is how we should decide. We are making decisions in a sequential manner, so that it leads to a least cost sequence. It leads to a least cost sequence, right? So these are the various optimization problems we are having. These are the various optimization problems we are having. Kindly remember, basically this dynamic programming is used to solve optimization problems. It is used to solve optimization problems. That is, either the problem requires maximization or minimization function objective. Is it clear? Let me respond, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next, we'll take up one problem type on this. How to solve or how this dynamic programming approach can be applied. Okay. Let us take the first problem type on this. That is multi-stage graph. Multi-stage graph. Okay, so here we should find the shortest distance from vertex I to vertex J. Okay, when a graph is having multiple stages, right? So here for this we will follow two methods. One is bottom-up approach or backward approach. Okay, we will follow either backward approach. Next one we can follow forward approach. Okay, so multi-stage graph. So here we should find the shortest distance we should find. Shortest distance from vertex I to J, vertex J. Okay, so for example, let us take one graph. Let us take one graph here. Yes. Second stage we will take A, B, C. Okay, the third stage let us take D, E. Fourth stage let us take T. Okay, so there is a net from S to A with a cost of 1, then A to D with a cost of 3, D to T with a cost of 8, next S to B with a cost of 2, next B to D with a cost of 4, B to E with a cost of 10, E to T with a cost of 2, S to C 7, then C to E with 3, C to T with the 10. Okay, so this 10 is for this one. And here A to E and the cost of this is 6. Okay, so this is a graph we are having, right? So our goal is to find the shortest distance from source to destination now. Let us take source as S and destination as T. Now we should find the shortest distance from S to T. Okay, so here multi-stage. You can observe just here. You can just observe here. Okay, you can just observe here. So here stage 1 is there. This is a stage 1 and this is a stage 2. This is a stage 3 and this is a stage 4. Right? Multi stages are there. Stage 1, stage 2, that is A, B, C, stage 3, D, E, stage 4, T. Okay? Now, first what we will do, so here it is the first method. Let us take backward approach. Okay. First method, let us take backward approach. So here backward approach means we will go from T to S. We will go from T to S. Just observe here, we will go from T to S. In the forward approach, we will go from S to T. Okay. In the forward approach, we will go from S to T. Whereas in the backward approach, we will go from T to S. We will go from T to S. Okay. Now, stage 4. We will try to solve this one. Stage 4. Right. So what is there in the stage 4? The last vertex is T. Last vertex which we are having T. Right. In stage 4, the last vertex we are having T. Okay. Clear? The last vertex T we are having. Next, stage 3 we will come. We will find the distance from stage 3 to stage 4 now. Kindly observe here. We will find the distance from stage 3 to stage 4 now. Right? We'll find distance now. So what is the distance? So in a stage 3, what is the vertex we are having? One is D to T, other one is E to T. Right? So what is the distance from D to T? This one we are selecting. D to T. What is the distance from D to T? Direct edge we are having, it is 8. And what is the distance from E to T? In stage 3 we are having D and E. So we are finding the distance from D to T and E to T. So here, what is the distance from? Sorry, it is not D, it is E. Right? So what is the distance from E to T?
2.
2. Okay, stage 3 finished. Next we will go for stage 2. Next we will go for stage 2. Okay. Now in stage 2 we are having A to T we should find out, B to T we should find out, C to T we should find out. Because in stage 2 you see here A, B, C is there. So we should find out A to T, B to T and C to T. Okay. First let us take A to T. So distance of A to T. What is the distance of A to T? Are we having a single path here?
No, sir.
No, right? So one is A to D, T is there. Next A to E, T is there. So what we will do? We will use minimum function, minimum of, right? Minimum of, what is, we will take this path A to D, D to T. So what is A to D? What is A to D?
3.
3 plus, already we solved the distance from D to T, right? Already we solved here. We will take the same. Already we solved this here. We will take the same. Okay. Next, what is another path we are having? A to E, E to T. Right? What is A to E?
6.
See here we are considering this. A to D, D to T is one path. A to E, E to T is another path. So we are considering that minimum of these two we are considering. That is what? Minimum of 3 plus D to T. Next 6 plus, already we solved E to T. Right? Already we solved E to T. What is this? So minimum of 3 plus. What is the result of this? 8. Right? Yes or no? The result of d of t comma t is already we got in the previous step. Next step. Here 6 plus. What is d of e comma t? 2.
2.
So it is minimum of 3 plus 8, 11, comma 6 plus 2, 8. So the result will be
8.
8. Okay. Now we solved this A to T. Similarly, in stage 2 we are having B as well as C. Okay. Now we should solve D of B to T. You find out and tell. Similarly, you solve this D of C comma T. You find out and tell me the result. Similarly, you find see A to T we solved. Next you find B to T and C to T you find. What is the result we will get? What is the result for B to T?
12, sir.
Kindly suppose what is the result for B to D? B to T?
12, sir.
12.
Everyone got 12, right? What about the C to T?
10.
10.
Ten. How it is 10? Kindly check once again. C to T.
Sir.
5.
C
Sir.
to T. We are having one more path. C to E and E to T.
5, sir.
5, sir.
You can just check C to E is there, E to T is the shortest distance we are having from C to T. So we will take this as 5. Okay. Now stage 2 is finished. Similarly, you calculate stage 1. Similarly, you calculate stage 1. What you should calculate here in stage 1? Distance of
S to T.
S to T you should calculate. Similarly, you calculate now S to T. How many paths are there from S to T?
3.
Here you are finding minimum path from A to T. Can you write here path? Path can you write? That is a path A to T. In which path you are getting shortest distance? 8.
8.
That is A to E. Next E to T. Okay. Similarly, you write path here. What is the path here? From B to T. What is the path?
B to E, E to T.
B to E, next E to T. Okay, for this one,
C to E, E to T.
okay. Now you calculate this and you write the path for this one. So you can reuse the paths which are already selected as shortest distancer. Okay, you can reuse the paths which you are already considered as a shortest distances. So A to T path is there. Next B to T. Next we considered B to T path as a shortest. Next we considered C to T as a shortest path. Now you can go with S to A, S to B and S to C. Yes sir, already we considered these three are the smallest paths we are having. So you can consider those three only. Minimum of those three you should consider now.
Nine, sir.
One plus what is D2 D of A comma T 8. 2 plus D of B comma T 12. This is 7 plus D of C comma T is 5. So that is equals to minimum of 9 comma 14 comma 12. So we are getting it as 9. So what is a path? Path. What is the path here? S to A to E, E to
E to T.
T. So that total we are getting 9. So this is the shortest distance we are having for this multi-stage graph. This is the shortest distance for the multi-stage graph we are having. Okay. This is how we can solve or we can find the shortest distance for a multi-stage graph using backward approach. You just observe here, backward approach. From destination to source we are coming. From destination to source we are coming. Whereas in case of forward approach, we will go from source to destination. Okay. Is there any doubt with today's class?
No, sir.
Others?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Then you kindly practice this. The forward approach we will see in the next class. Okay. Okay. Then shall we wind up the session? Okay.